Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Tolu.
And I'm Neche.
And we're Tolu Neche.
Back at it again for the first time in a long time.
Like a year.
A year, basically. I don't know. But we are in New York City. It is summertime, summer 2019. And we are in the same city during summer for the first time ever.
Who would have thought? Literally every summer since we've been at Penn, and she's been in LA and not here.
Yeah.
Like I was in Philly for a summer, but she was like went back home. But now we're both working in the city. You know, both making moves up here in Manhattan.
Literally, it's gonna be a great summer. So we're together, which means videos can be consistent. I can get on the subway. Tolu, let's make a video. And here we are. So we're back and we're better.
Yes.
So yeah, we're just gonna talk to you guys about like our roommate story, how we found each other, and just give tips when it's like time to look for a roommate and the type of like steps you want to take to find a good roommate. So when I was looking for a roommate, I was looking for a couple different things, right? I was looking for someone I could relate to, someone who kind of not looks like me but had similar me vibes, you know, fashionable, black, preferably Nigerian, very preferably, and like, you know, someone who was chill and cool and, you know, someone I would get along with. So I hit up some people beforehand, didn't really work out, but it wasn't in God's plan. That's exactly why. So I see this one girl, Chineche Vincent. I'm like, that's an interesting name. This was the Black Pen group me, and she hits me up about my prom dress. And I was like, okay, this girl's cute. I tell her about my prom dress, and I'm like, hey, do you have a roommate? And she's like, no, I don't. And with the way we were talking, I'm like, okay, I can get her vibe. She's chill. So I look at her Instagram, and it was Your Modern Hippie. Your Modern Hippie.
Your Modern Hippie. And I was like, I consider myself a hipster. She's kind of cool. She's black. She's Nigerian, and she knows how to dress. Maybe this is gonna work out. So I followed her on Instagram, like a couple pictures, but I didn't want to get too excited because I asked people to be my roommate before and they turned me down. So I was trying not to get my hopes up. So I finally got enough courage to ask her. I was like, hey, do you have a roommate? And she's like, no. And I'm like, do you want to be mine?
I was like, yeah. So yeah, it's crazy because she got an ED actually, so she already had people that she could communicate with and stuff. So then I finally get in like, you got in like what, November, December. I get into Penn in March the next year. So after I get in, I'm like, oh my goodness, like I can't believe I got to this school. I need a roommate. And like, just like Tolu, like I was like, what type of roommate do I want? Preferably someone that looks like me, so that when I'm taking out my cornrows or something, my roommate's not looking at me like I'm crazy.
Exactly.
You know, if I'm playing with like the scented oils, they're like, what is that? If I'm eating Nigerian food, I didn't want them to be like, what is that? You know, so it just depends on like who you are and like, I don't know, like the type of things you're into. And I just wanted to make sure whoever I was living with would not be like weirded out, or like they would know where I'm coming from with like things I talk about or what I'm doing. So I was like, preferably like someone that's like black, Nigerian. Like I was open to anyone that was pretty cool. But I was like, if they're Nigerian, then they'll literally know how I grew up because we had the same type of parents.
You can relate more.
Yeah, so I wanted someone I could relate to, number one. And then I wanted them to like not be like weird, because you know, some like the other Nigerian kids be a little funny sometimes.
They do.
So I was like, I want like one that's cool like me, like not super nerdy, but like kind of cool. And I love like clothes and fashion and stuff like that, and like the art. So I was like, I hope they're kind of artsy. So I'm looking through, like my prom hadn't happened yet. My prom wasn't gonna be for like another month. So they made this group chat of like Penn girls, like it was like all Penn 2020 girls. And they were sending their prom dresses for some reason. So I was like, oh, let me shop in here. Then while they send their prom outfits, I'm gonna shop for my dress. So I'm going through, and I'm like, I see this like nice white with gold. I said, wow.
You know how I do.
And it was this, so I'm like, who is this? So I messaged the girl, I'm like, oh my god, where'd you get your prom dress? And she's like, oh my god, from this boutique. It was like $400. I was like, so I was like, cute taste and all, but absolutely not. But like, you know, so that's the first time I talked to her. And then I looked at her name and I was like, are you Nigerian? And she was like, oh my god, yeah. But she didn't think I was Nigerian. She thought I was Indian for some reason.
I don't know why I thought you were Indian. I think it was because, was your nickname Neche?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I've never seen this in like, you know, in like as a Nigerian name before, and I also wasn't familiar with Igbo names like that. And I'm like, okay, no, she's not Nigerian. And Indian was the next best thing. I don't know why.
She thought an Indian girl was messaging her, asking her all this stuff.
And I was like, I'm Nigerian too. She's like, oh my god, what? I thought you were Indian. I was like, what? So we're talking and like, you know, it's pretty cool. And then she's like, she follows me on Instagram. And I was like, okay, let's see what she looks like, you know. I'm looking at her page. I remember she had this little outfit. You were wearing like a crop top with like a pink something. I think by the telephone booth in London or something. I was like, fashionable. Yes. I said fashionable. And she was really cute. And you look like a baby, but her face is so adorable. I was like, this girl's so pretty and she dresses nice. I like her. And in my head, I was like, I wish she would be my roommate, but I wasn't gonna ask because I'm not the type of person to ask. So dudes, don't be afraid to ask.
Shoot your shot.
Because I was not going to ask. I wouldn't have asked her. So I was just like, oh, she's so cool. Like, I wish she would be my roommate. The next day, I literally get a message and she's like, hey, do you want to be my roommate? And I was like, God, you're so good. I was like the one person I wanted asked me to be their roommate. And then the next day after that, this other girl asked me to be her roommate. Who, like, fast forward now, it wouldn't have been a good situation. So I'm so happy that she asked me to be her roommate because it's been what, 3 years? We still live together. We're going to senior year, and we're still living together. Yes. So literally, our story is literally like, it's kind of rare because people don't usually live like this.
Yeah.
But we like did well. It was really good.
Yeah. It's actually funny because it was so like, I don't even know.
Like genuine.
Random.
It was
yeah,
like
it was
random.
really genuine, but also very random.
Yeah.
But it somehow worked out, and like ever since then, like she's been my go-to person like on campus, and it's like it's hard to replicate it, but all you have to do is be genuine and, you know, try to seek out your best interests and, you know, do the best possible to judge the other person, obviously with discretion, and like, I don't know, maybe it'll work out.
Okay, yeah, and then like, so if you try to go through this process, right, and you are not finding like someone that you like, you don't find your Tolu, right, like you're next year, you don't find your Tolu, and it's like the deadline is about to like come for submitting your roommates, and you really don't know what to do, dude, it's okay to go random. Like, you can try to choose a person because you might actually hunt down a person and live with them freshman year, and like after freshman year you're like, no, like, you know, because we know a lot of people who freshman year they thought they were gonna be BFFs. Sophomore year, different roommates, like, you know, like they make new friends, don't live together again, and that's okay. So it's literally trial and error. So you can try to choose your roommate, but it's okay to go random because we know people who did random and literally new best friends. Literally new best friends. They joined the same type of Greek life after that, and like it's just like no matter where you end up, it'll like you'll be okay.
Yeah, it'll work itself out. But don't be afraid to do random. I know it's scary and, you know, it's unpredictable, but it can work out in your favor. You never know. And even if you aren't that person that stays with the same, you know, roommate over the course of 4 years, that's okay too. You can definitely switch around, get to know different people, and in that process you will find your person. And, you know, it's all about the experience and making that the best. So if you don't find a roommate that suits you, it's time to find another one that, you know, suits you perfectly, because no one should suffer through a terrible roommate story or like have terrible, like, you know, horror stories about their roommates.
And if you want like random, like you want to control the type of roommate you get, but can't like, and still want to do random. For example, if you want to live like, if you're like a black student and you like, or any student, and you apply to live in Du Bois is like the culturally black house, right? So it's mostly black students. So if you say Du Bois is your first place you want to live, and then you do random roommate, you'll most likely have a black roommate who also did random, you know? And then if you're like any other like student and you live in the quad, you're gonna have some other freshman, like, no matter what, you're gonna have another cool freshman like in the quad, and in the quad, like everyone in your hallway is basically your roommate. Like, you know, like you guys all see each other. Like in new college house, more so it's the people you live with, because like, you know, you leave your room and you have your living room and stuff. But the quad, you walk out of your room and it's all the other freshmen. So you're gonna be fine. You're gonna make friends regardless of where you live. But
by both of you like selecting random, or however many people that you live with selecting random, you're both kind of like, you know, setting yourself to this sort of vulnerability to like make new friends. And even though I don't have any control over this living situation, I'm gonna leave it in the hands of Penn, and hopefully it works out. And trust me, it does.
It usually works out. And if you have some crazy roommate from like hell or something, you can literally always apply to like get a new roommate and change rooms. That's like an extreme, but if worst comes to worst, that's also an option. Like you won't be trapped with someone who like terrorizes you.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Okay, so you found your roommate, and now what do you do? Well, here's what you should do. Definitely talk to your roommates first day if you can, and set aside ground rules in terms of cleaning, in terms of chores, in terms of those type of things. Our friends made like a wheel of chores. I don't really know if they actually used it, but like get creative so like it's not a burden or like not anything that someone doesn't you guys aren't looking forward to, because you should not that you should be looking forward to cleaning, but it makes the living so much better throughout the year.
Yes.
So if you say like every 2 weeks I will do take care of the bathroom, you sweep the floor, you do the dishes, and we'll rotate. Make it work like that so it's more seamless and everyone from the jump agrees to it, because you don't want to get halfway through the year and you figure out you're the only one that's been cleaning the bathroom, everything else is dirty, and like things just get bad.
Yes, and there is no one that's gonna come and clean your room for you.
Ain't no cleaning services.
So no, and like if you live in the quad, they might clean the bathroom once a week or something, but still, like for your actual room, you and your roommate need to literally decide when you're gonna clean and actually do it, because there's nothing worse than living with a person who doesn't clean, or like doesn't clean up after themselves. Like we understand like if you're going out, you might be messy, your side of the room might be messy, but nobody wants to live with someone who's filthy,
Exactly.
So literally think about that. Freshman year can be rough, like we know, but like every now and then, even if you make it like so, like every weekend you're like cleaning up, tidying up, like don't start the week dirty, So like from the beginning, establish the cleaning and all that stuff, because if you don't, you just like think, oh my god, we're all so friendly, like I'm sure like this girl's so nice, like she's totally gonna clean up after herself, dude.
And then she does
halfway through the semester, and then you don't want to say anything because you don't want to come off as rude. But if you guys were to have established those like roommate norms and stuff like that, then you could have handled that from the beginning. Same thing with like guests, like having like if you're a boy or girl, having like some type of partner over in the night and you have a roommate, you need to talk about those things. Or like even having your friends over, like what if you and your roommate aren't in the same friend group and you have all your friends come over, you have a roommate and they're like this again, like they're trying to sleep but you and your friends are being noisy, like you guys need to establish like what time is like the latest that you can have people over, like all of those things need to be discussed in the beginning, because if you don't,
exactly. And this is especially important because not only is it helping you to be a better roommate, but it's helping you to be a better living partner or someone to live with, right? Because now we live off campus and we don't have a wheel telling us what chores to do. We just do them when we see fit, and it's hopefully supposed to ease, this is supposed to be a regular thing for you and help you in the long run. If you do move off campus, or just in general, no one likes to live with dirty people, so you best learn now how to clean up after yourself and rotate the chores amongst other people that you are living with.
And this is like, we're not just saying this, like this is real life. Like we have heard people like it'll be like a friend group, and then it's like, oh, who's living with who next year? And someone will be like, well, I don't want to live with X because they were so messy last year. Like they're my friend, but just a disgusting person to live with. You do not want to be that person that your friend group is saying that about, So literally clean up after yourself and establish rules from the get-go, unless you're going to be calling your RA like, this person did that and they don't clean up. Like,
you don't want to be that person.
No, you don't want to be that person.
Also, another thing that we wanted to mention, so when we were living in Harrison, we were the only freshmen living there at the time. Now freshmen can no longer live in the high-rises. I repeat, the freshmen can no longer live in the high-rises.
But they are building another new college house too. Like, there's a new college house, and now they're building new freshman dorms yet again. So you guys will be fine.
You guys will be completely fine. Anyways, when we were living there, we were in the double, and then we had 2 other roommates each in single, so it was a 4-person suite. And halfway through the year, a lot of the other rooms or suites on the floor decided to switch. So the 2 that were in the double room would now, one would switch to the single, the other would switch to the other single, and then the 2 people that were in the singles would switch to the double. But that caused a lot of drama, mainly because a lot of the rooms didn't talk about this beforehand or knew that it was going to happen.
Just know about anything like that. Like even if it's not doubles and singles, even if it's like, oh well, this room is bigger, this room is like smaller. So then in the beginning you might agree, fine. Like halfway, like when the first semester passes, we can switch rooms. Some people say that in the beginning, but when the time comes, that person who was in the room is like, do you really want to like move all your stuff? Like, like I don't really want to do that anymore. The other person's like, we agreed to that already, So just like no, like, that's just those little things that you discuss in the beginning of the year, really follow through with them, because it will cause drama if you don't.
Exactly.
And then the last thing we wanted to discuss before we wrap it up is just be ready to live with like different types of people.
Yes.
Because you guys watching this, you guys all come from different parts of the world. Quite frankly, like me from California, Tolu from New York, two very different backgrounds, very different people. Yeah, we were similar in like interest and like style and that like Nigerianness. Other than that, I'm like, I had never taken like public transportation. Like I didn't know any of that stuff, you know. I'm like this.
Spoiled.
Like I'm like, oh my god, like, dude. And she's like, bro, why do you talk like that?
Literally, oh my god, you literally used to talk like that.
Yeah, so no, I still do, you just got used to it.
Yeah.
So you literally will encounter people from like all these different parts of the world, so be ready for that. And you will meet some very interesting, I'm not gonna say weird, but you will meet some very interesting people, whether you live with them, whether they live on your floor. College is an interesting place, so just be ready to like meet a lot of different types of people with a lot of different types of habits. Okay, this is not living with your family. I know a lot of you have lived with a sibling, like I shared a room with my little sister. This is not that. This is very different. You're gonna encounter a lot of different types of people. And the worst is like when you move on from freshman year and like you might move to sophomore year or move off campus or something as a junior, and you're living with your friends, and then you start seeing how those friends live and act, and that sometimes it's like, oh my god.
Wisely.
You never know about a person until you live with them.
Exactly.
So always remember that.
Yes.
But we wish you guys the best of luck in finding your roommates.
Yes.
Hope you guys can find someone like that has a little connection like we have right now. If not, you'll find it probably sophomore year or junior year, or you can live alone.
That too. There are singles, so if you don't want to deal with this at all, you can opt for that single, you know, and just be done with this whole roommate situation.
Right. You might not even have a roommate. This video might not be for you. If you really don't want to live with a person, they have singles, so that's always an option.
Yeah. And time again, if you guys have any questions, just drop it down in the comments below. We will, answer them right away. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to our channel. Now we're back and we're better, and we promise we're better. Because we've said
we're better before, but then we're not.
We weren't actually better. But now it's the summer. We actually have time-ish. So yeah.
Yeah, so stay tuned. We'll talk about like our summer internships, how we got these jobs, and how to find one just like us.
Yep.
All right, signing off as
Tolu Neche.